The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Well, hey there, notaries and signing agents from across the United States. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to MGM, also known as Monday General Mentorship. Today is Monday, April 29th, 2024. My name is Beth Hathoot, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Ronnie Mickle, and of course, William Bumfrey. Tonight, we have a very special company we'd like to introduce you to that goes by a very simple, straightforward name, Apostille Agent Training Company. This company was founded by John Nelson in 2010. John has retired from more careers than most of us have ever held. You truly can't keep this man down. John retired from Kraft Heinz in 2002 as a category sales planner. And during his time at Kraft Heinz, he also attended night school at Fuller Seminary in Pasadena, California. He earned his Master's of Theology degree and served as a pastor until he retired again. He then became interested in notary work and soon found himself as a commissioned notary in the state of California, 2007, I think he told me. Like many notaries, John began to receive calls for apostilles. He had never heard of apostilles, and he found it almost impossible to find a training resource. So the Apostille Agent Training Company was born out of that frustration in 2010. The goal was to make it possible for every notary to have the opportunity to receive quality, meaningful, and practical training on the subject. John and his team developed a teaching training methodology that works. I might be giving away some of the insider info here, but the training is online. It consists of an electronic training manual, 6 quizzes, and 2 major tests. But what was really exciting for me is the fact that he's also developed a resource software called Super Genesis 23, I think it's -117. This promises to save the apostille agent hours of time by having the needed requirements and resources for states and non-Hague countries just one mouse click away. So that's what I'm really anxious to have John present to you tonight. But before we start, I have 2 special requests for you guys. We would like to get a really clean recording of tonight's session, especially for those who are new to the world of apostille and will be watching the replay later. So if you would, please hold your questions until Mr. Nelson has finished his presentation. Take notes, though, so that you don't forget what questions you have, and we promise to save enough time to get them all answered. And then Ronnie and I both will be watching the chat for Mr. John, so we don't miss anything in there as well. The other thing is, before Mr. Ronnie gives the floor to our guest, I would like to ask all of you to please honor Mr. Nelson by turning on your cameras and making John feel really welcome in our group this evening. Ronnie, are you ready to kick off our meeting?
Absolutely. Guys, please turn on those cameras for just a minute. I can understand at the end of a meeting, you got things to do, but for just a moment, we have a guest in the house. Mr. John is here to tell us something that we don't know, and we're going to be very appreciative of this. I would like for you to turn it on, and let's give our signature wave at the very beginning. Let's welcome Mr. John here. Let's give our signature wave. We love to do these waves, Mr. John. And I'm going to scroll through. I don't know if you can see that, but I just, it'll be on the recording. Look, I've already got more pages lit up. Come on, third page. I'm waiting for you guys. I'm going to start calling names. We got 122 people on the call. We want 122 waves going. We could probably double that to 400 and something with if you both use two hands. I'm going to scroll through. I'm going to get it back to the first page. Thank you for those who were brave enough to be on camera. I know sometimes I'm not brave enough either, you know, but I got a backwards baseball cap. I'm lucky I'm a boy. I can put on a cap. But last thing I want to say to you guys is we don't bring people here that are consumed with money. We bring people here who are consumed with education. And for a long time, we've had other apostille trainers who we still believe in. But Mr. John is very like-minded in this industry. He cares about education. He cares about doing things correctly. He cares about the Notary Star way. And, you know, we had a behind-the-scenes conversation when we interviewed him to bring him on here. So if you guys don't know, we actually, before we bring somebody on, we actually go and talk to them, make sure that they're like-minded. For those of you that are, you know, Notary to Pro graduates, John had a relationship with Carol Ray as well. You guys know that I did. This is family as far as I'm considered, very like-minded in this industry. And now I'd like to give you the floor because what matters more than any list of credential is like-mindedness. That's where we learn from the most. And Mr. John, I'm going to let you take it over from here. I'm going to actually pin you up and let you take it from here. And we're going to sit back and let you control the session tonight. You're on mute there.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Thank you, Ronnie, and thank you, Beth. It's my pleasure to be here. Let me make just a quick comment on a very personal. Ronnie mentioned her was special to me, with Carol Ray. She was a great encouragement to me when I first started this, and one of the first persons that I said, she really believes in me, you know. And so that was exciting, and I would be amiss not to have mentioned having known such a fantastic person. And those of you who know her and have interacted with her, you know exactly what I mean there. So let me start by the beginning. Beth did a very good job in an introduction and giving you a little bit of a background on me. But I'm going to share a couple of things with you first that you may not be aware of. To the best of our knowledge, we were the very first online training and certification for notary publics. Now, there, as far as our research was concerned, there was no one who did this for us. And one of the other things before us that drove me is that when I got my notary commission, I had no idea that notaries work that hard. You know, I thought they just showed up for a piece of paper and that was it. And man, was I in for a shock. And that drove me when we got to the things of apostille, because the companies that did apostilles and had some knowledge were closed. By closed, I mean they did not like people asking questions. They did not want to share information. And that really upset me. I said, any notary who really wants to know how to do this should have a way to learn it. And not only just learn it, but it should be a quality type of teaching. So I'm going to mention that quality a little later on. If you probably noticed, if you looked into our school, we only certify notary publics. When our school started in the beginning, we really trained everyone who was interested in it. But then in our research and what was going on in the questions we were getting, it became very clear that the only people who really needed this training and this certification would be notary public. So if you look at our website, you'll see we make it quite clear there that we only certify notary publics. The reason for that is this. If you do not know the notary laws for your state, you have no business doing apostilles. No business doing apostilles. The notary laws of your state are vital. They are important. And if you're like California, you go to jail and you get huge fines if you break these laws. So I'm sure that is also true in other states. That being said, let's move on. Let me share one thing with you. If you see one of my manuals floating around, please let me know. We had to do a lot of cease and desist and have some legal courses, and until we put there that it was copyrighted information, because we found that people were taking the information and trying to repackage it and then distribute it on the internet. But let me start by saying this. There is a change, there is a correction of terms. If you're going to be a professional apostille agent, for example, you don't go to your doctor and he would say to you, you have trouble with this tube that runs the back of your mouth and where it puts food down here in your gut. You would kind of look at him. He's using terms and he's describing things that you would not expect to come from a doctor. Okay, that goes also for the apostille agent. First of all, let me make a point of this. The process is called legalization. It's not apostillations and all kinds of terms that you have probably heard. The process of obtaining an apostille or an authentication is the process of legalization. You should use that term when referencing your clients and communicating with them. They may come to you saying, I need an apostille, but what they really need is an authentication. And you can lovingly address that when you talk to them. So terminology is important. Here's another reason why it's important. When you are working with apostilles in foreign countries, you're going to find that some foreign countries just throw terms around and they could mean anything. You will hear interchangeably them trying to use notarization with legalization, legalization with authentication, all kinds of things. And so if you don't have your terminology straight where you can communicate to them, okay, you're going to run into issues, and they're going to be very, very serious issues. So I want to make a point to make sure you understand that legalization, the terms that you use need to be correct, because each term should mean something specific. One of the things we're always asked in our school is like, well, who needs an apostille? What is an apostille or an authentication used for? Number one, I'm going to give you just an abbreviated list of things and places for opportunities that you may or may not have been familiar with. Obviously, foreign students who are here who need their credentials sent back to their country, that makes sense. Businesses doing, American businesses doing business abroad, they need them. US citizens getting married to people in foreign nations, they need them. A lot of real estate transactions where people have relatives abroad and they're either selling property or they have real estate transactions that are taking place, they need them. Anyone who's seeking employment abroad, they will need apostilles. You have federal court cases. And by the way, if you get one of those, they're quite lucrative. The federal court case is an average of about $5,000, especially if you get one with money laundering, because they require a huge amount of authentication of documents. I'm just throwing that out there to hopefully get you a little bit excited, because that type of money is out there. Patent infringements. You'll be surprised in foreign countries how many you have culprits there who try to take advantage of American patents, and that type of legalization does need apostilles. Companies in America who are establishing businesses in foreign countries, they need legalization of documents. So I'm just throwing that out there for you. Now, my business is a little unique, but I want to share a few things with you that would hopefully encourage you. And that is this. Approximately 95% of my total notary business is legalization of documents. And yes, you heard that right. About 95% of the business that I do is in the legalization of documents. Now I'm gonna hit you with something else here that I hope you remember, because it can make a difference for you and revenue in your business. Out of that 95%, 90% of my customers are commercial. And this is something I push into training with my schools. Or my school, there's a reason for that. Let's just look at it just for a second, and it will help you in your marketing as you're going after this business. The average person may need a legalization 2, maybe 3 times in their lifetime. Okay, so you need that constant influx of people and finding a way to reach out to them so they can know that you're there and do what you do. But now, have you ever thought about this? Commercial entities need you over and over and over again, year after year. My established business space that I have, most of them have had me at least 10 years. They wouldn't dream of touching anybody else because I've established that I know what's going on there and I can serve them. So I'm telling that to you. If you're in this business, yes, please, by all means, go after the commercial business. Let me give you a caution, though. That is the most difficult sector of this business to get. Getting commercial accounts is not easy at all. But once you're in, you're in. And you will be more than happy that you've been able to accomplish that. What most apostille agents do, unfortunately, is they do a lot of damage for the industry that we're in. Let me explain what I mean by that. Not to knock a blow at YouTube or things like that, but basically the information out there is so that any, let's say, 9th or 10th grader you just follow and do the simple apostille. Okay. And that's good if that's all you want to do. But if you want to know how to handle any and everything and be paid for it, then you have to have a knowledge base. You have to kind of know what you're doing. Let me tell you, one of the major things I have to fight with, I don't fight anymore, with my graduates for this. They get excited when they get their first big deal and they call me. And then they tell me what they have charged for it. And of course, there's this long pregnant pause because I'm in total shock. And so I say to them, I want to ask you 2 questions. Have you ever gone to your lawyer and he said, well, you know, I just passed the bar and you're my first case, so I'm only going to charge you $75 an hour as opposed to $450? Or have you gone to a physician who said, I've just passed my boards and I've got my business and I've hung out my shingle, and instead of charging you $550 for this visit, I'm going to only charge you $200. Now, you should laugh at that because that is so absurd. But that's usually what the apostille agent does, unless they know better. They don't understand that they're being paid for their knowledge. Are you following what I'm saying? That you know what to do that someone else does not do. That's why you pay a physician what you pay a physician. That's why you pay a lawyer what you pay a lawyer, because they come with a knowledge base and a degree of professionalism, and they know what to do and they know how to do it well and better. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out as you move into this business, know what to do. The second thing that hurts a apostille agent is that most of them have been depending on the quickies that they find on YouTube. So therefore, they cannot offer a full service. They do not know how to process anything that needs processing. And basically what they do is send them to somebody else. Like before you learned about apostilling as a notary, what did you probably do? Somebody called you and say, oh, I need an apostille. And you would say to them, what? Well, I can do the notary, but then you have to go to somebody else. And you just threw away a lot of money because you were not trained and did not know how to provide that full service when it came to legalization services. Now, there is a process. We have found a learning process or a teaching process that works. And we tell our students to give them a vote of confidence. If you follow the steps that we present to you, you will always know what to do next. You will always know what questions to ask. And there never will be a time like, oh, I'm puzzled and I'm confused and I don't know what to do. But I say, just in case that does happen, one of the things our school does is this. For your first 3 months after you have received your certification, we give you free mentoring. You can call, and if we can't answer right then and there, we'll let you know and get back with you as soon as you can, because we understand you have to get your feet wet. And you may want to shuffle a little bit or be a little fearful, but we can get over that. We can get over that, and we have a system to do that. We're going to talk a little later on about the Super Genesis app, which was designed specifically to meet that, not only for the neophyte, but for the fully experienced person who has been doing this for years. Let's look at some of the things that you need to have some expertise in and understand. When your clients come to you, they sometimes will not know when they have translations what is supposed to be done. And I wish I could see everybody, because I'm quite sure I get some heads bobbing here. They have had to work with their clients to try to figure out.
Mr. John, I just want to tell you, you got heads bobbing, but you have the biggest crowd we've ever had at Notary Stars right now. We have 161 people on the call, and we're also live streaming on our YouTube channel. And there's a lot more watching over there, so keep going. But
okay.
there are a lot of people interested in what you have to say tonight. So no pressure, but you got
no pressure.
You got head popping for sure.
Okay, but with translations, they don't know what to do. We have sessions, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you here that'll help you where you won't get in a jam when it comes to translations. Most of the time, the translation does not, I repeat, does not need to be legalized most of the time. Because most of your translations that you should receive should be certified translations. And usually in my 14 years of experience, that's what is accepted. Now, there are some, I live in California. In California, there are always ifs. So certain ifs kick in and it makes a difference. But with translations, basically what foreign entities are concerned with is the authenticity and the signature chain of the original document. Now, I teach the students you deal with that one of two ways. One way is I usually leave translation up to my clients. I have third parties that I use, but I make sure that they understand, the legalization of the document is what the major focus is on. You get that taken care of, the legalization, the translation can be done here, or it can even be done in the foreign country. But now let me give you a caution here. You are an agent. You're not an attorney. You do not tell your client what to do. You can share experience, what you have seen and what people usually have to do. But in the final scheme of things, they have to say, well, even though I've shared that with people, some people say, well, I still need it authenticated. Fine. If you want to pay the extra money, then that's what I would do. Now, when it goes to translations of documents, I want to point this out, and we make this very clear in our training. If you have to authenticate a document that is written in a foreign language, it can be done through the same system, especially if it's a non-Hague document. It must be, it's not optional. It must be accompanied by a translation. Don't ever make that mistake, mainly because, well, it's a little shorter now, but usually the Department of State a few months ago were taking pretty close to 4 to 5 months to process a document, which means that if you miss this, they let you know and send your document back 5 months, after it's been there for 5 months. And you have to go back to your client and say, I'm sorry, what I told you is going to take 6 months. Now it's going to take a year. I don't think you'll ever see that client again, because that's a mistake you should never, ever make. And as an app, this is where training comes in. If somebody doesn't tell you this and you decide to fly by the seat of your pants, you open yourself up to all types of things. And there's several scenarios that we'll talk about about this that many of you may be aware of or may not be aware of, but that's one of the ones that I wanted to share with you. For example, many agents get now, and I'm finding it's quite a bit, presented with naturalization papers and things that need to be done there. Well, if you haven't been trained in how to deal specifically with that type of federal document, you're going to be in an issue. You're going to have to send them to someone else. Anytime you have to send one to someone else, it's like dollars flying out of your pocket. You can just see the dollar bills just get wings and fly away, especially if it's something that you could have been prepared for. YouTube basically does not teach the FAR, at least I haven't seen anything there yet. It could be. How do you deal with federal court documents? And how do you deal with general federal documents? There are some things there. And there's another specific category you have to be very careful with because it varies. Vital statistic documents and academic documents are not all done the same way. And you need to have that type of knowledge and addressing to them. But anyway, what I'm trying to communicate here is it's important to know what you need to know. And not only that, you need to have the confidence to know that you know what you're doing. There are other little tweaks and crammers here we could go into, but those are the major ones that most people seem to have difficult with. Now, I'm going to share with you the Genesis program and how it works and how it ties in to all of this. By the way, if you wanted to know, Ronnie, so a hand raise.
Yep, I just want to make sure that everybody understands when you said you're about to show this Genesis software. If you are in the kitchen going to get a cup of coffee, if you are tucking your kids in, get them into bed, get back to your computer because you are not going to want to miss this. My mouth is drooling. I cannot wait. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows this is the moment. Other than you being an amazing trainer and very knowledgeable, this is about to be the moment. So if you're watching and everybody, I've been posting in the chat. I'm going to do this real quick. I've been posting in the chat, and I think that's another reason why we have so many watching. Copy this message, and if you've got a notary friend, get them in this meeting. Copy that message and send it on a text message or an email to somebody. Get them in this chat, in this message tonight, because Mr. John is about to show you something that's going to change your life in Apostille. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry about that.
That's okay, Ronnie. Thank you very much. It is obvious there's a lot of information as a notary, as an apostille agent you need to have. I cannot memorize everything. I've memorized a lot of things that I have to deal with. But if you are in the legalization business, there are certain things that you have to come to time and time again. I think Ronnie and Beth have me set up for a screen share. So I'm going to attempt to do that so you can see what it looks like. This is screen 2 is what I want. There we go. Okay, do you see the, someone give me a head nod if you can see the app. Now the application is built on the Excel platform for PC. Right now, it will not work on Apple because Apple has a different language. And my programming experience is with Visual Basic. I do not know. I wrote the program myself. You got to laugh at this. I wrote this program for myself. I said, I got to make this job easier. What I'm doing here, this is just too difficult and taking too much time. And then it developed into that to be something that I could share with the notary community who is doing apostilles. So let's just look at the app that I have here. And I'm going to point out a few things for you. It's a simple app. Most of the control buttons are up here on the left side. I'm not going to go into detail there, but I'm going to try to show you what it does and some of the high points of the Genesis software. We all know that in processing documents for non-Hague countries, and in case you don't know what a non-Hague country is, it's a countries that have not signed of the October 5th, 1961 document for the authentication of documents. In other words, they don't belong to that particular convention that was done in Hague or Hague, depends upon how you pronounce it. And their documents have to be handled different. Now, this is where you come in as an agent, okay? Because each foreign country has different requirements and their documents have to be done different ways. Now, you can either have a quick go-to resource for that, or you can spend the hours and times that's required every time someone asks. And I'll tell you what else you're going to have to do. If you don't have a resource to do this, when someone calls you, you're going to have to say, well, I'll get back to you, because you're not going to have all the information at your fingertips. So let's look at the document. First, I'm going to look at from the U.S. state standpoint, because if you're doing apostilles, you want to be able to do them no matter what state calls you. So if you look at the app here, you see where it says Open Non-Hague, a blue button here, and a blue button here that says Open U.S. States. If we click the Open U.S. States button, all the states of the U.S. are here. It's on Indiana, but I'm going to go to my state. Once you get to this page, all you have to do is type in the first letter of the state that you're looking. We're going to type in a C, and all the C's show up. That's a standard program. So we're going to click California. Now, when I click California, what do I see here? Here, the fee, the last time this was updated, the phone numbers, the mailing addresses, any specific information for California is listed here. Now, over here, if they have special requirements as far as birth certificates, they're there. If they have special requirements for academic documents, they are there. And this is for every state that there is. Now, there's another feature, but I think I have to show you what comes up in another window. For those states that have an application form that require applications, if you look down here, it says other legalization application form for the main office and state or second application form for an additional office. Now, here in California, we do. I'm going to click the one for where I am, which would be the second one in Los Angeles. Hopefully it doesn't open another window. Let's see. Give me a head. Did it pop up in your window? Do you see it? Or you see the same thing? Let me know. Because usually it opens in another window and sometimes you can't see it when I'm showing you.
It did, John. You're good.
You see the form. Okay. And the form is designed where you can fill it right in on your computer. Okay. This is for California. And then you can print it. So you didn't have to leave the computer to do anything. Everything is right there. The forms for that state is there. You type it in, you complete it. And all you have to do then, take your notarized document with this form and take it to your Secretary of State. Now that's a big deal when it comes to states. Here, there's a place here, because this is what I've needed so much. It's a scratch pad. This scratch pad stays open no matter what state you're in. If there's certain things you need to remember, you put them in there. They will stay there until you erase them. They don't disappear every time you open the app or something like that. That's a big deal, and we like that. We know also that every time you need to print this information on the mailing addresses. So built into the program is a button that allows you to print that. Now, just for some reason, you may need information about that legalization that you can't find here. So you say, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So you turn to your computer, think you're going to have to go to Google and a bunch of other things to find it. No, you do not. For every state, you'll see at the top here, we have click to go to website of the state above. So if there's something for California that you haven't found that we haven't placed here, you simply go to the button here and you click go to website. Did it show up? Did you see the California on your end, or do I have to open the other one? Can you tell me, please, Beth?
Say again, John.
Yeah, did you see the web page now for the Secretary of State in California?
No.
No, we
Okay,
don't.
because it opens in another window on top. Let me show you. I have to show you that here if I can go.
If you're using two screens, Mr. John, what you
I
want to
am.
unshare and then share the new screen.
Okay, stop sharing. And then share again. You probably didn't see the, did you see the app when I opened it up?
I think we thought it did, but I think it didn't. Now we see that new one.
Okay, you see the new, okay, this is what, when I click that button, this is what opens up. Not only does it open up to the state in question, it opens up to the apostille section of that state. So you don't have to, if you're trying to find apostille information on most states' websites, you have to do a lot of hunt and peck and search until finally you get there. You don't have to do that here. Once you click the button for that state, you're in the apostille section. Now, let's go back. I'll stop share to share, go back to the app. Okay, you see the app again, correct? We're back to the app now.
If you're referring to the app that says instructions, state database lookup, then yes.
Yes, we're back to the app. Now, to get back to the main database, and by the way, this is click to fit screen because you have different screens. You don't have to worry about it sometimes looking too big or too large. This will automatically fit it to whatever screen you're looking at. Now, the biggest feature of this app is what it does when it comes to non-Hague. Non-Hague countries, there are 78 of them. No one knows all of the information for all 78, but you have a built-in database that has that information there. And this is really the strongest suit of this, and you will use this more than you will any other thing. Now let's look at that. If you click the non-Hague, open non-Hague button, did you see the new page?
Yes.
Okay, it did jump to the new page. Notice it says non-Hague fees info. Everything about that particular country that I've deemed that is important and you need to know. Let's just take, I like to use this as an example because it just cost some people money because they did not do this. Let's go and look at, instead of Kuwait, let's look for, I like to use this example, United Arab Emirates. Okay. Most people say, well, I'm going to charge them $200 or $300 for the legalization. Well, if you do that, guess what? You're going to have to give them another $300 when you show up. Because if you look here for commercial documents, can you see this number? They charge $544.59. So if you have quoted your account $250, guess what? You're in trouble. Because it's going to cost you, by the time you get finished with this, close to $600. So having those fees there are extremely important. This app gives them to you. Not only that, when it comes to commercial documents, if it's a certificate of origin, that's a different fee. All right. If you don't know this, you're going to have to look this up. Two very important things on this particular page. If you notice at the bottom where you have regional and translation required. There are some embassies and consulates that require that you translate the document when you present it to them for legalization. If that's here, you will see yes. If copies are required, and by the way, if you send items to an embassy or to a consulate, the copies are required and you don't, guess what? They're going to send them back to you. You just wasted time, you just wasted travel, and you're going to have to come back again. The app tells you that. If it is regional, the app tells you that. If, with the exception of Vietnam, if you are in California and you send And there is a consulate here in California. You send your documents to New York, a New York consulate, not embassy, a New York consulate. Guess what? They're going to send it back because that consulate does not have the jurisdiction to take care of that there for you. The app deals with that. General comments are here. The mailing and drop-off addresses are here. Now, UAE does have specific requirements when it comes to academic documents. So there's a section here that specifies what those are, because if you bring a document there that doesn't have that, sometimes you may get by with it, but if they have a check and it gets caught there, your document will be refused and sent back to you. So that is there also. And we have done the same thing when it comes to embassies. What we've done when it comes to non-Hague, we have now not only the embassies, but 2 consulates. Now, some countries have multiple consulates, but we pick up 2 of the major consulates where you can click here and go to them. I'm going to see if I can click. Let's see. Tell me if it comes up. If not, I'll open the one after I click the button. We'll see what happens here.
Nothing changing yet, John.
You know, it's coming. It's just that their servers are very slow. Can you see it now?
No, sir.
No, okay. Stop share. I'll have to go to that window again and share screen. Okay. This is what opened up when I clicked that window. Not only did it take you to the United Arab Emirates website, it took you directly to the document attestation. They use the term attestation. And you will be taught that, you know, in our classes, a lot of classes do that. So you're familiar with that term and what it means. But what you need to know is here. If you can't find it on the website, you never have to worry and panic. There's a button there for each non-Hague country that will send you right to the exact page where you would need to find any additional information. Okay. Let's go back to where we were. We also have, for those countries that have application forms, they're here. You can pull them right up, fill them in. But one of the big things that's here is that 99.9% of all of the documents you send to a non-Hague country require the form DS-4194 in order for you to submit it to the U.S. Department of State. That's built right into the app right here. Now I'm going to click it. I may have to go to the other window again and show you what happens. But if you click it, you tell me if you see the app. If not, let me know. Do you see the app? Do you see the page? Anything change? No?
I don't.
No. Okay. Then it opened in the other window. Let me go to the other window again and share. Okay. This is what will open in the app on top of the page that you were on. This is the DS-4194. And it is also done to be completed on your computer. You simply fill in what you got to fill in. You hit the print button, you print it, and guess what? You're ready to send your documents to the U.S. Department of State. You haven't had to open any other programs. You didn't have to stop what you're doing. You didn't have to look in papers. Everything that you need to process your non-Hague documents, we have included in the app. Now, that if you don't get the app for any reason, that is the main reason that it is an invaluable resource document. Now, let's go back. Stop share again. Okay, we are back now to the document. The other information makes sense. If they have a regular and expedited fee, it would be here with a slash so that you know what to prepare. Just like on the state web page, the telephone numbers are up here at the top. Okay. Now, and you can also print the information is here. But let's go back because the app has a lot of other things that will help you. You're probably saying to yourself, "This is good, John, but I don't know a Hague from a non-Hague country, so what's that going to do to help me? We've thought of that. If you click on the country of destination, anything there, let's just look here. We're going to click one. Hit the drop down. Notice the countries that are here. And notice that some of them have 3 asterisks, some have 2, and some have a pound sign. So you've got somebody on the phone, you know instantly what they are. Here's the legend, if you can see the legend. Any country that has 2 asterisks is non-Hague. If it has 3, it's a non-Hague that has special conditions. If it's a contracting country, and you may not know what that is, but a contracting company is like a Hague country, even though it isn't Hague. And there's certain conditions tied to that. It has a pound sign. And if it's a Hague country that has special requirements, it has a dollar sign. So all you do is click this and put in the country. Let's just say, for example, you were trying to figure out Vietnam. You weren't too sure about Vietnam. So you hit V's, Vietnam shows up. Okay, you look, Vietnam has 3 asterisks. That means it's what? It's a non-Hague with special. Why is Vietnam a non-Hague with special? Because Vietnam says, we are non-Hague, but we will take your documents without you having to send them to the U.S. Department of State. If you have the state apostille, you can send them directly to us. Now, if you don't know this and you know that Vietnam is non-Hague, you may waste time and money sending your documents to the U.S. Department of State when that was totally unnecessary. But you would have known that had you had the app where you could look into it. But now, I'm looking at my time here. I'll try to compact this as much. It's a lot more, but I'm just going to try to hit.
You know what? All of this is really super information. You should see this chat lighting up. Everybody's going, it's a must-have piece of software. They've got it. They know what you're trying to show them, John, for sure.
I'm glad.
You put in a lot of time and programming and effort into this to be able to integrate all of these different requirements for all of these different countries, Hague countries, non-Hague, even letting you know how much money it's going to cost you to do this so that you know how much money to charge your client. So,
okay, I just didn't want them to say this is too much information. That's what I was afraid of. But like I said, I'm passionate about this app because it's meant to help the apostille agent. It really is. It is. It has, like, right now, probably 600 hours of programming has gone into this thing to refine it to where it is at this particular point in time. And it just blesses me when I see somebody use it and then I get feedback. Oh man, this has really helped me. Here's what it did and here's what it does. Well, let me I'll hit a couple other things, Beth, if that's okay.
Sure. And we want to make sure we leave enough time to answer questions. We've got a hard stop at 6 o'clock, John. Okay. So we've got about
I'll do this in 2 minutes. What it does is, you'll be surprised. This is the database. All of the records that you do are here. Okay. Every time you do it. Now, here's what happens every time you do this. You don't have to touch that paper again. If you have any type of volume, I guarantee you got stacks of paper. And it's easy to make a mistake. And then something comes up again where you have a customer that's like one other for another country you did earlier. And you're trying to say, oh, what did I do? I don't remember what I did. You go to the app and all of that information that you've put in there is there. The name of the client, the phone number, tracking status. It's a whole bunch of things that are here. This little box up here to let you know which items are past due that are over 60 days that you've had and you haven't processed them, haven't delivered them yet. It lets you know if you have expedited items that are still hanging out there. That's just a very, very important thing. Here's the last thing I'm going to show you. I promise I'm not showing you anything other than this. You must always know where your documents are. Tracking number when you're sending things are very, 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 very important. You enter that information in when you put your customer's information here. I'm going to show you here. We're going to take here. I'm going to show you how it works. Track 1 is a tracking number. We're going to click that tracking number, and we're going to copy it. Then we're going to go to the button here that says tracking status. We're going to click it. My server is going very slow. Okay, you put it over here. I'm going to move it. You see this now? Yeah, you put it on the other screen. And that's a FedEx number. So when you click that, you have your choice of FedEx, UPS, or USPS priority. We're going to click FedEx. When you click FedEx and you click the track number, it's going to actually, is your browser open? Because the browser has to be open for this to work. And you click the browser, yes, it is. If this number is correct, it tells you to check. I have a lot of edit boxes in the program, what I call is ask the question, and the reason is to help you not make a mistake. Is the FedEx number correct? Click yes. If not, click no. So that is the number we put in there for FedEx. So we're going to click track. We click yes first, then we click track. Now what happens? Do you see the new window, or do I need to switch over to it?
Switch
Don't
over.
see it. Yeah.
You don't see it? You don't. Okay. Here's what opened. So you can see what happened here. I screen to you. Okay, you see it now?
Yes, sir.
It's right there. You don't have to go to another website or type in anything or do anything. It's right there. The tracking information is there. There are other things that it does, but I'm going to stop so we have time for questions. It's just kind of like, I don't know. We touched the top of it. Hopefully, I've given you enough of the meat as to what it does. Have I stopped sharing the screen now, Beth? I want to make sure.
Yes, sir. And what I want to ask everybody now, first I want to make this announcement for those who are watching live on YouTube. For the entire session I've been posting, if you have questions on YouTube, we are not wielding those questions. Okay, so we don't even see the chat there. But I have posted in the YouTube chat the link to get in this session. All you need is a registered Zoom account. If you are on YouTube watching right now, I think we've had 113 people on that side watching, in addition to the 160 something people that have watched tonight live with us. If you are on YouTube watching right now, check that chat, get that Zoom link. If you've got a question, pop into this meeting and ask your question live. Mr. John, are you ready to start taking questions from people?
Yes, I am. Yes,
okay. Everybody who's got a question, please raise your hand now. This is the perfect time. I will do our best to fill the chat, but if you really want to get it answered, please get those hands raised, and we're going to go one by one, trying to get them answered. We're going to start with Miss Lisa Duffy.
Hey there. Hey, John. It's good
Hi,
to see
Lisa.
you on the call. I'm your biggest fan of your class and your software. And I just wanted to just reiterate how great your software is and how helpful it is. And just wanted to let everyone know that your course, to me, is the most comprehensive when it comes to non-Hague countries. There's, a lot of people that touch on some non-Hague stuff, but yours is the most in-depth that I've found, and it is very helpful, has been really helpful in me being professional when I'm talking to my non-Hague clients. So I just wanted to just jump on real quick and say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm sure John appreciates that pat on the back. Awesome. Yolanda, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yes. Hello, everyone. And thank you so much for letting me ask this question. And thank you so much, Mr. Nelson, for your presentation today. My question is the class and the course And the app, of course, is separate, but do you teach a class for Apostille?
Yeah, here's what we do. In addition to the electronic manual, which we do provide 3 live Zooms, which are very important. We keep those groups small so that each one has 3 opportunities to participate in 3 different Zooms. The reason for that is this. You'll find out that you're not the only one who has a particular question. You get to interact with other people who are at the same stage of learning that you are. And I am always there. I do the Zooms myself. I don't farm that off to anyone. So those 3 Zooms, yes. The 3 Zooms, I see a flash up. Are they per week or per month? No, there are 3 Zooms during your training because we divide it as to where we think you are as far as, where's your progress in the training is. Okay. There's some that popped up, Ronnie, actually, can they ask about pricing? I don't have a problem if that's okay with you and not out of protocol. Is that okay with you?
Mr. John, this is your session. We invite you here, so you do not need to ask permission for anything.
Okay. Yes. The pricing, the software Genesis is $95 per year. It's subscription only. You can stop anytime. The reason it is subscription only because there are 3 huge databases that we endeavor to keep up to date. So that's why, and we put ourselves on the line because you can always tell when it was updated last and the changes that we have made for a particular country or for a particular state. So the app is $95, that's per year. You can drop out at any time. The training is $398, which can consist of electronic, your mentoring. And by the way, I do mentor my students. They know they can get in contact with me. Not only that, but after you have graduated, we give you 3 months of free mentoring, no matter what questions you have, whatever you're not clear about, we want you to get off running. We don't train people to fail. That hurts me. I've done something wrong if you're not making it. So we do everything that we can to make sure you get off on your feet to a good start.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Yolanda. And Mr. John, there's been one question that's resonated throughout the chat tonight. I'd like for you to answer it, and then I'd want to make a commentary on it, if that's okay. Lots of people have asked, when will this be available for Mac users, or will it ever be available for Mac users, or is there a workaround for Mac users?
Good question. There's not a workaround for Mac users. What I will have to do is to find a software engineer who knows exactly both languages, mainly because the source code for the Windows base is completely different for iOS system. And you can't go one for one. Some things carry over, some things do not. I have to decide when I'm willing to spend the $4,000 to have it re-engineered for Apple. And the thing about this, here's another reason why I've hesitated. Once it's re-engineered for Apple, I can't get in it anymore. You follow what I'm saying? Because my language is in Windows, and I can do tweaks and changes and improvements there and just put it on the website. That's not the case once I start adding Apple. I want to, and I probably will, but not at this juncture.
Okay, I just want to make a commentary on that with you while you're here. For everybody who's asking about the Macs, and sometimes when I say things, people think it's a backhanded, answer or whatever, and I just want you to know I love you, but Windows computers have always been a friend to notaries. Macs have not. And I'm sure that you that have Macs have noticed it's hard to print. It's hard to do things. One way that you can ensure that it gets over to Mac, he's talking about the cost. This is a cost comes with everything. Get your friends who are users on Windows to support this product as quickly as you can, and you may see it come faster because costs are a factor when you have to re-engineer something and start bringing in partners with languages you don't understand. Another thing that's a workaround, and I don't get any affiliate links for saying this, But I have multiple devices. I have Mac and I have Windows. I run my notary business from the Windows and it runs much easier. But I have a Mac for a lot of things. They're just not really truly designed for our industry. They're meant for other things. So you can get really inexpensive laptops. We're talking $100-200 that may come faster than getting, John to write code for this to work on a Mac computer. That would be a very small investment and would probably pay for itself with 1 to 2 successful apostilles, in my mind. Maybe even just one if you land one of those corporates we talked about tonight. So a workaround could be just getting a very, very cheap laptop to be able to use it and then watch Netflix on it the rest of the time. I just wanted to point that in there. And, no offense against the Mac users. I've got an Apple iPhone right here. I've got 2 of them. I've got a Mac computer. I've got an iPad, but I also have my Windows device where I truly run my companies, and it is easier for our sector of business. So just putting that out there that, by the way, I do want to make a commentary about the price. That is amazing pricing for what you're offering. I've always thought that's really expensive or that would be good. That's a really good price. And I'm going to tell you guys now, you better go get it because I don't even think you know the value of it, Mr. John. That is an amazing price for what you're offering. So I honestly hope to see your prices rising in the future. So if you're asking for a discount on it right now, I would go over to Mr. John's and we would fight if he decided to do a discount on this. Yeah, I would fight with him on doing a discount because that's a phenomenal price. That's less than $10 a month if you think about it, for annual $90 for something that does all the work for you. I'm going to digress now because I want to get to the rest of the questions. Guys, we're going a little bit over. If you got your hands up right now, we're going to get them in. So let me...
Can I make one statement, Ronnie?
Yes, sir.
I want to say really quick, I have to give you a caution. Now, when you download, I am not what is considered a trusted publisher. I am an independent software guy. So what happens? I have to let you know, I put that in the instructions. Everyone is going to say you're going to get things right, trying to tell you don't download it because it's not from a trusted publisher. I have developed the app. The app itself is digitally signed. And any of you who know about computer, that means if it's digitally signed, no one has touched it or been able to get into it since I compiled it. Okay? So that's, but when I'm telling you now, that's why it's in the instruction. They're going to tell you, block this. Are you sure you want to do this? This is from an untrusted publisher. All that is true. I am not. But it is not spyware. It is not malware. It's just that I guess I could give all of my information over to a company. That would be the only way to really get around this. And then let them put their label on it. And then I've lost control because my code's not out there. Okay. Then they would have access to my code and everything else. So I just wanted to point that out. Ronnie, go ahead. You got a lot of hands and I don't know how much time you got.
We're going to get these hands that are raised right now up. Hal, you're up next. I always love when Hal comes on. Hal's got a lot of great questions.
Hey there. Well, I'm over here in North Carolina. I've been a notary for a long time, and I've never, I don't even know what an apostille is. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around this. As a notary, somebody contacts me, however that happens, and they go, I need an authentication made. Then what am I actually doing as the notary in this process? What am I being paid to do? I don't understand.
Good question, Hal. All right. 2 things kick in here. 99% of what you're going to process will require notarization. Okay. So you're going to get your notarization fee. Now, the apostille simply means this. A bunch of nations got together and said, it is not this. Let me back up. This process used to be a very expensive process to send a document from one country to the other. And not only that, the sending country had one set of rules and the receiving country had another set of rules. So lawyers had to be involved. And both of these sets of rules had to be made. So a bunch of nations got together on October 5th, 1961 at the Hague Convention and decided this is ridiculous. We need to do something to simplify this process. So what they determined at that meeting, that anyone who belongs to that convention would accept without any other requirements a document coming from another Hague country. You with me so far? Okay. So that's the big thing about that, because Hague is no problem. But that's what happened to simplify the process. So here's what you are doing, whether it's a Hague or a non-Hague document. You are taking the document to whatever levels are required for legalization so it can be presented in a foreign country. If it is a Hague country and not a federal document, 9 times out of 10, it just requires your notarization and the legalization by your Secretary of State. And that's it.
Am I sending the document to the Secretary of State on behalf of my customer who's paying me?
Yes, you are an agent. That's what an agent does. You are acting in their stead.
Now, when the Secretary of State authenticates it, do they send it back to me and then I take it back to the client?
Always, never. I have hands on all of my documents. I only
So do I, how long does this, so let's say I'm in Charlotte, I get the actual documents from the customer and then I send them off to Raleigh and then to the Secretary of State. And then the Secretary of State knows that I'm the agent and they send it back to me. So is that like a month-long process or?
Good question. It depends upon your state. That varies from state to state. The service that I offer here in Southern California is customized. What I do, I don't mail anything that I don't have to. I get in my car and I drive to LA.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So here's what that does. It sets me apart from everybody else. I can get it done faster because I'm going to go there and personally get it done and bring it back and put it in their hands. Number one. Okay. Number two, they don't have to go find a notary to notarize it. I'm going to notarize it when I come to them to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So people are paying me for my knowledge, number one, for my service, number two, and for my quick turnaround, number three. Does that help you?
You got muted there, Mr. Howell.
One more question. What fees are we collecting here? I know that's probably a ballpark, but $100, $500. I mean, is there any ballpark y'all can get?
Good question here. Number one, each state has a limit as to what you can charge for a notarization. That doesn't change. It's illegal to change that. So that's a given. That's a set. You charge your fees, like for example, what loan signing agents do is they charge for travel.
Right.
You see, they take the travel fee, and when they file their taxes, there's travel fee in addition to the notarization. Because notarization, most states allow you to deduct that off of your local taxes, not federal.
Right.
Okay. Now you determine. Now what we do, we address this in our training. In our Zoom 300, we teach our agents how to come up with a marketing plan and how to set your retails. Because that's the biggest mistake we see out there. Where are they getting these retails? It just blows me away. But we have a customized method that tells you what research you need to do, what numbers you need to get, and based upon the services that you offer, what is the retail that you should be in? Because that retail is up to you. That's not federally or state mandated. What's only federal, state, and mandated is what you charge for the notarization.
And And Mr. John, if you don't mind me just popping in, because I know that there's a ton of questions out like this. And one of the things that I'm going to tell everybody is you have to kind of take that training and learn where you fit into Apostille, because some of you, like I'm 12 minutes from the Secretary of State's office, Unlimited Ink's office, 12 minutes. We actually made a partnership with a company just to run. We only charge them $100. We give the notary 75 to run them in. We act as a runner. I actually don't want to do apostilles. I love the idea of everybody here doing them. It's a lot of pressure. So what we did was we actually took our client and said, take John's course and you prepare them and we'll do the running for you. You do all the high pressure work, get them, use his software, do all these things, and we'll just do the runner. We'll do the easy side. Not that I haven't done them, not that I don't want to do them. It's just a lot of work. And at Unlimited Ink, we're really, highly focused on those high volume, quick signings. But I want to tell you, it doesn't matter if you're 12 minutes, 5 minutes, or 120 miles from your Secretary of State's office. You may be really far out there. It depends on where you fit in to, if they have to mail away, if you can drive them in, if you can do a relay. John can help you with figuring all of that part out, because each one of us on this call are going to fit into a different place into what they can do as far as apostille. You can always be the notary, okay? You can always be the notary, but how you charge, John can help you figure out that charge based on where you are in your state, how far you are. You may need to partner with a runner notary or a runner service and do it. You may decide to do it the way I did it and say, take John's course, you be the apostille agent, I'll be the runner. I actually like the idea of being the runner more than doing apostille because I'm closer and it's less pressure for me. And if I get down there and you made a mistake, it's not on me. I'm just the runner.
True.
It's
Okay, well, that helps.
It's
Thank
a lot
you.
less pressure. Thank you, Mr. Howe. You always have wonderful, wonderful questions.
Well,
Oh, you got muted there again. But we're going to go on to the next questions, okay? Because we're about 12 minutes over, and we've been trying to promise everybody that we're going to stay within the time. Samson has another question up here. Samson, you've been chatting all night, and I would love for you to get your questions in.
Thank you, Ronnie, for coordinating this, and thank you, Mr. Nelson, for what a wonderful training you have. I have a very good news for all the Apple users. The Apple users, and John, you don't have to spend $4,000. All the Apple users can go get the Parallel Desk program and integrate it with your Apple, and you will have a Windows system running on your Apple. I have been running a Windows system on my Apple for last 3 years, and there are times that I only use Parallel Desk as if I am using Windows system. So there is no need to go.
I will actually pay you for a session with Beth. Please write Beth@notarystars.com. I will pay you for a community tip for that, and I will pay you $150 for about 15 minutes of your time if you can explain that to everybody on a community tip.
I'd be glad to do that. And one last thing, I know time is precious here. Is there any way that Ronnie or Beth, you guys can send us the email or any contact information for Mr. Nelson that we can contact him later to acquire this subscription and training? That would be greatly appreciated.
We've been posting that in. Oh, go ahead.
We've been posting that in the chat, but Samson, we'll do it again for you.
Thank you so kindly, Ronnie. So many people asking questions.
This will tell you how long we've been in this business. Our website is apostiltraining.com. That means we're one of the first ones to even get that type of website there. And there's an order catalog there that you can, that has everything listed there for you.
No problem. Ronnie, I have 15 more people waiting for me for the Zoom. I need to run into that. So to open it up, I'll be staying in contact with you regarding the Parallel Desk for the Apple.
Absolutely. Please do email Beth at notarystars.com, and I'd love to have you on and teach that. That's amazing. I put it in the chat so everybody could see it. Mr. John will make sure you remember, and it's being recorded, everybody. But thank you for that tip. That is,
Yes.
this is why I just have to say this, and we're going to go on to questions. I know we're over time. This is why we do things, guys. We come together and we learn things from everybody. We learn things if we keep our ear to the ground on what's going on in the industry, whatever everybody else is using. This was amazing tonight with Mr. John, but look at that nugget that just popped out.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Mr. John taking notes. I mean,
I was taking notes.
yeah,
You're right.
absolutely. He went and got a piece of paper. I saw him. This is how business owners become bigger business owners. You start out, you listen, and then there's that one thing that drops.
I hate to do this, Ronnie, but I have to run.
Absolutely.
And God bless you, everybody. Take
God
care
bless you.
and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Samson. Miss Nancy, you want to unmute and quickly ask your question?
Yes, it's a really quick question. On the platform where you go on there and it shows the fees, is that the fees that they have to pay the state to have this done?
The fees, okay. The fees that you see there on both the state websites and the non-Hague website is what the Secretary of State charges. And on the other one is what the embassy charges.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so your fee is going to be calculated on that, plus what you feel your service is and your expertise. And that's how you arrive. That's oversimplifying it, but that's how you arrive at your retail.
Right. Okay. Nothing. I've never done an apostille before. I've not dabbled into that part yet. So I was just curious. Thank you
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
why I use the UAE, because most people say, okay, I'm going to charge you $300 for the apostille. Well, if it's a commercial document for the UAE, they charge $544. So you're in trouble. You see?
You're in the
Great.
hole before you start, right?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nancy. Leah, I think it's Leah. Lee or Leah?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and ask your question.
So I guess it's two-part. One, is the training applicable regardless of what state you're in, or do you have state-specific training programs?
Good question. We have designed this, Leah, so that no matter what state you're in, this is just two reasons. Let me back up. This is why we require you to have a notary public commission. And then it doesn't matter what state that you're in, this applies. There are certain rules and steps in the legalization of documents, and it does not change. The only thing that basically changes a lot is what your Secretary of State requires. That's the reason that we only certify now notary publics. But I do stuff in New York. By the way, make sure you check if you do New York. They've got some they got some things you have to do, especially when it comes to vital statistic documents. But the process that we teach you works for any state.
Awesome. Thank you
Make sure
very
you
much.
understand that. Yeah, this is made national, so to speak. You know, where no matter what state you're in, if you are a notary, you should be able to follow what we have done and go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Last question, Miss Brenda.
This is going to be short and sweet, John. Do you have to make an appointment with your Secretary of State to perform?
Not anymore. We used to. Now they have got a system and it's really humming. I mean, in the height of COVID, when they did let us come in, this was like a 2 to 3 hour process. Believe it or not, it was that long. And then there was a time in Sacramento, it was only by appointment. You couldn't get in there. But now, no, it's like, I think I stay there at the most anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes quicker. It just depends because they have a rotating staff. So absolutely, we don't have to right now.
I think during COVID, everybody was by appointment or not even going in. We had to FedEx and mail everything in during
What
COVID.
we're waiting on,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you out a tidbit out here to get you excited. What we're waiting on is for the U.S. Department of State to start allowing walk-ins again. They don't allow them. And that means a longer processing time, which was our major selling points to our clients. We could do it quicker because we had people that walked it in.
Yep. So a lot of states now are walk-in. We're walk-in here in Arizona. I think Keena said in Ohio, they're walk-in. It's a 15-minute deal to walk in. So yeah, I guess it all depends on how much you're doing when you do walk in and how long you got to wait in line. Right, John?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, Mr. Ronnie, I think we're all finished up here with John. It's been so fantastic to have him here.
It's been absolutely amazing. This is actually one of our highest attended sessions. I think the only highest attended session other than or equal to this is probably my SEO seminar. So I have to say, Mr. John, you're definitely a attraction. Half of the people here tonight had already heard about you, and they come and support you. I know you're here because so many notaries reached out to us and said, you got to talk to this guy. And I want to say this to everybody, for everybody that's out there teaching apostille at the moment, they were touched by Mr. John's knowledge. He was first. And he's also doing something more progressive than anybody teaching right now with the Genesis software. I really hope that you'll go back and revisit his training and look at what he has to offer and get that Genesis software. And Mr. John, I know you've not been here for a closing, and I'm a little bit vulgar about it. Beth will take it home. But this is how I say it when we say goodnight. If you are not naked and you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich right now, please turn on those cameras because we have a guest in the house, and we want to make sure we give them our signature wave to make them feel welcome for being here. This has been a great session, everybody. I want to see everybody's hands waving tonight. I'm going to scroll through these screens while we get those cameras going. Mr. John, this is how we do it at Notary Stars. We wave to ourselves. We wave to, if we're coming back to watch the replay, we wave to our fellow notaries who couldn't make it here tonight. Look at that. We got multiple screens lit up. Come on, screen 4. I see you. Come on, Margie in Texas. You get on camera all the time. You turn that on. You're a big Ron notary over there with Notary Socials. I love that you're here. Lisa Duffy, you get on here. You teach and everything. I want to see all y'all on. All right, everybody. I'm scrolling through. And Miss Beth, how do we really say it here at Notary Stars?
Just remember, guys, we're all in the same storm, but we're not all in the same boat. Some of us have yachts, some of us have canoes, and there are still others who are just dog paddling. Please remember to be kind, reach back, grab the hand of that notary next to you, and show them the way. Save a life. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Good my joy.